Yo, ladies and folks, welcome back to another episode of Submarine Media. Today marks the first episode of the new segment that I've added to this channel, Favorite Album Fridays. And that's gonna be when I pick an album that's near and dear to my heart, that has perhaps influenced me in some way or impacted my musical choice, or just left a mark. That's gonna happen every Friday. This Friday, if you saw the thumbnail, I picked an album that I own on CD, I own it on record as well, and that's gonna be Melvins Asthma. I absolutely love this record. I got this record part of a bundle of records that I got when I was 21. I went to Amoebas. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Amoebas if you click on this, if you love music. But there's an Amoebas in Berkeley where literally 2 seconds down the street is a Rasputin's. And I would used to price check back and forth. Man, I ended up just going to town on Amoebas because they had just a better selection and the price was right. Shout out to Rasputin's, no shade or anything like that. But I ended up buying this bad boy, part of 21 CDs, and I bought this and Bullhead, which I'm sure will show up on this channel as well. But this album, record, if you've never heard it, it's just mini epic after mini epic after mini epic of just brain pulverizing riffs, odd time signatures, freaky, sometimes disgusting, dirty lyrics. It is actually exactly sometimes what the first track's title is. It's just vile sounding and just beats the hell out of your brain so fast and so oddly, and then it's just over. And then the next song starts. Some songs are like 1 minute and 30 seconds. It's crazy. I actually got this at first with the CD version that comes with a gluey porch treatment. So forever I had thought that was just one big album that comes together. Interesting story about this group, and sometimes some people find it hard to believe because of the location, but I met the Melvins in a Westfield Mall in San Francisco, I think somewhere around like New Year's Eve or somewhere in that area. I forget the year. They must have played a show or something. They were just walking. And I had seen like off the corner of my eye his hair first, Buzz's hair. And I was like, what? And I had turned and they were like right there. And the only thing I could think of to say was just to go up there and shake his hand awkwardly and thank him for Ozma, because I fucking love this album. And he just looked at me like, you know, first of all, I didn't look like the typical fan or anything. I didn't look like all like musiced out. Like I was dressed like super nice and like a pea coat and like fancy shoes. I was all faded up. I wouldn't look like a typical Melvins fan, so like I'm sure at first he just looked like some like random dude just running up on him, and he looked like real like at first. I just dipped, and I always thought I'd be so cool about it. No, so hopefully the universe puts them back in my graces again so I could go redo that. But this record here, I feel like they have songs that vary in length. I mean, in their whole discography. They definitely have short songs, but I feel like they have executed the short, tight, concise, time-bendy, odd thing that they do on this record and gluey porch treatments. That it's like totally perfected on those two records. I'm not saying that the other records are just bad. I just feel like they've perfected that sound on those two records. All right, so without any further ado, every time that I have a piece of representation, whether it be a tape or the record, if I can get a hold of it, because some of the records I can think of, like, they're gonna be hard to get, I'm gonna take it to this side of my table and just open it up and let you guys see what it's like on the inside. Or if it's a new record, I'm gonna unbox it. So let's take it to the table and see what's inside this bad boy. All right, sorry about that. My desk is a little bit of a mess here. Ozma. So the Melvins for me, for the first part where I got into them, I believe I was reading a Guitar World magazine interview and it had Tool in it. And he was saying how influential how Melvins was to his sound. I was like, oh, okay, well, I was a big Tool fan. I was like, if he's influential to your sound, then I've got to, if they're influential to your sound, then I've got to listen to them. So I ended up getting Ozma and Bullhead. Yes, I was smart enough. Came with a poster. Smart enough to put this back in there anyways, is what I mean. King Buzzo himself. right, man. Isn't that awesome? Bam. I love this picture. Track list, 1989. I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe if I can get that a little closer. That's the inside of this record. Right. Back of it. Obviously, to be honest, I bought this record probably a couple years ago. The CD I bought, I don't know, like maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago. But this is one of those records that I'm like, okay, I have to own the album. I'm calling everything a record. This is one of those pieces of music that I was like, I have to own the record. There we go. Yeah. So, same on the other side as well. And like I said, I might have said this in the first part of the segment. When I had initially got this, the CD version was a double disc. It came with OZMA gluey porch treatment. So forever I'd end up thinking that that's how the record came. So I'm like, oh wow, like this record when it ends, like it just seems incredibly short to me. Even though they're all short, I mean it's just that's the point. Like these songs are pretty short, so it just ends. Versus like the double disc I have is a little bit longer, but yeah. So that's it for the inside of this record. Oh, my kids yelling. Alright, so that's pretty much it, except for like some of my favorite tracks I would talk about. Like Oven to me is probably the centerpiece for me of this record. I remember seeing a YouTube video where they did like a double drummer version of it, and that was completely awesome. You could probably still catch that on YouTube. Cool Legged is the one with like probably the creepiest lyrics on there, I think. There might be something creepier, but it's pretty weird. But the song itself is nuts. Vile, just the way it starts out with that projector, it almost really kind of reminds me of like Lateralis, how it starts with a projector in the same way. If those are projectors, you never know, there could be some trickery, it could be something else. Like God Be Your Gardener. I mean, I wouldn't say there's anything bad on this record. This record from front to back, I could put on and listen to it. If I was doing something I could easily forget and just let it repeat more than one time. I'd suggest this to anyone that likes any kind of rock music. I mean, if you're a generic rock person, probably not. This might upset you, or I guess. And that's not even to be like elitist or anything. I could put this on in front of someone that says they like rock and they'll be like, what the hell is going on? If you're a person that likes metal, you'll definitely dig this. I hope anyways, but I wouldn't necessarily say this is like metal. It kind of comes off like punk in a way because the songs are like short and intense, but the riffs are kind of metallic. They have their own kind of sound, really. I wouldn't really say I've heard anyone else with their sound, especially not on this record. I've heard people be influenced by it, like definitely Tool. I think there's a band that does like this like doom-gazy sound called Boris, and I think they had named their band after the track Boris off of Bullhead. And I think I've heard a couple tracks from them that's just like really heavy, almost shoegazy. I think if that's what I'm thinking of. But not too many bands, really. It's like almost like this weird, like doomy Black Sabbath, Black Flag. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it for this Favorite Album Fridays, OZMA. See you next time on another episode of Submarine Media and Favorite Album Fridays, episode number 2. I'm loving the next record for that. So yeah, let me know what you think about this record in the comment section, on my social media as well. And we will see you next time, double exit, whoops, on another episode of Submarine Media.